we have these thoughts about our purpose and we don't even know that they're there. Like we feel that they're there.
Mm.
When you have high awareness, you eventually do realize what they are, but it's like it's this nagging little voice inside your head, this little fire in your heart where you're like, yeah, I would love to do that, or yeah, I really love this.
They don't want to be mediocre.
Sure.
Mediocrity is like a fear. They're fearful of being mediocre. So they're confident now, and that quiets down the mind, because a lot of that is just psychological stress.
So why are these important? Like why, what would confidence give someone after they've gone through your program that they didn't have before the program?
Usually when you're dealing with higher performers, that's actually where they struggle the most. And at fundamental level, that's really what they're looking for in terms of why they want to perform. I mean, achieving something great is really about status, and status is really about feeling like you're loved and approved of, and that you can finally get, be seen for who you are. The way I look at it is they're coming to me because they probably want peace of mind and to be more productive, more focused. And that's how they perceive the problem. But what they actually want is probably something to do with connection to self, connection to other people. And that psychological stress it's not even to do with what they're dealing with. It's to do with their self-worth. It's to do with past matters that are being projected onto what's coming up right there and then. So they're confident, they're more relaxed, they're actually able to be present and enjoy their lives. Entrepreneurs say that they're all about freedom, and the whole reason they're working is to live a better life, but then their life becomes their business. Like they don't have lives, they have less thoughts overall. I think that if you want to define confidence is the absence of thoughts. Because the only reason you have thoughts is because you have doubts, and you don't need doubts if you're confident, because you can handle things. If you want to define confidence is the absence of thoughts. Because the only reason you have thoughts is because you have doubts, and you don't need doubts if you're confident, because you can handle things. So
I need to write that down. That was really good.
sometimes they might have interests, things that they think might be of something that they could be passionate about, but because it doesn't come easily to them, or because it's not an avenue where they can like rest their identity on, they might not do it and just stay comforts, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
They really want is to know that they can, I guess, be seen or be comfortable being themselves around the people that they care about, or that they don't have to put on a mask. That they value the work, they value the investment in themselves, that they pay on time, that that they're invested in the process. They're paying because they understand that this is an investment in, it's an accountability to themselves, that they actually value making a change. We
Yeah.
want people who are accountable. They're accountable to the fact that they really want to make change, and that investing in themselves financially, because I guess financial investment is like a honest signal. In this, like an honest signal basically means honest signal basically means that because there's a net loss to what they're putting into the relationship, it's indicative of the fact that they're being genuine with their interest in what they're doing.
What are the things that you hear the most often that they're struggling with?
Anxiety, inconsistency of performance. So they're either performing under the gun, or they feel like they can go at 100 and be super productive and creative one day and smash out a whole bunch of work, but then they're wondering why, like for the next 2 days, they can't keep that same consistency of effort going. It shows up in their fears of relationships. So maybe they either feel like they can't be fully themselves, or they're concerned that there's too much risk in opening up to somebody, legitimately letting somebody in. It usually also comes in the form of boundaries and dealing with the stress of the nature of the work that they do, in the sense of they're constantly looking at themselves as if their value is purely based on their last best performance. So it's like they're always worried that a client's going to drop them, or that they're going to underperform. They're not going to be able to get the work done, perfectionism issues, things like that. Yeah, I think the other thing is just preoccupation with thoughts, like lots of catastrophizing, lots of stressing out about things that don't need to be stressing out about, constant chasing of like future outcomes and not being able to be present right now, and just like their minds running at 100 all the time and not knowing how to like quiet that down. I wouldn't even be surprised if, to a degree, they think that if their mind was quieter, that they wouldn't be as productive.
How would somebody know that they are more present in their life? Like, what would come from being more present that they didn't have before?
I think what happens is they start to feel more relaxed. They have less thoughts overall, because you only really have those thoughts when you're in doubt, and you only have doubt when you don't think you can handle something. I think when they get confidence, they're often willing to do things that are important to them, but that they don't necessarily, they're not certain that they would be excel at, or not certain that they could pull off. Because the other problem with high performers are, if you're somebody that's used to being a high performer, it's a little bit like being a really good looking guy. If you've gotten attention from girls all your life, you probably aren't exceptional at dating and personality wise and stuff, because you overlook, like, it's come so easy to you. The problem with high performers is, if they do go into a, let's say they want to do something, but it's not an avenue where they know that they're gonna, from the get-go, absolutely be good at it, they tend to avoid it, because they actually have fear of failure. They have to be really good at something, otherwise it's not worth pursuing. There's this funny like belief that if you're content with what you have right now, that you won't want to pursue anything else. You'll just be lazy and like sit on the couch and eat potato chips, and that's just bullshit. Like, it's stupid.
I just had a phone call this morning about that. It's funny. Saying that you always need to push yourself to grow, and like if you don't, then you won't want to grow, just like you're saying. And I was like, I don't think that's accurate. And then I was like, I don't think that's true. And he was like, well, why do you say that? I'm like, well, because I have a personality that loves to grow and learn, and I'm curious, and like it's effortless for me to grow because I'm always learning and seeking out new things. But I'm actually very content with my life. I'm just grateful of what I've already built and enjoying it. And so I was just like, I'm very content in my life right now. So it doesn't feel like the two are different. Like, it feels like growth and learning, or growth and being happy. Like, I don't understand why there's a line between that for everybody. For me, there's no line.
Yeah. I think that's a testament to where you are in terms of your own self-identity and self-worth, because the example I always use is like, when you have a really great orgasm, it doesn't stop you from wanting another one. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's ever like had to pursue and stress themselves out to chase a better orgasm because they already had a really good one. No, our fundamental nature is to pursue ambient challenges and to grow. Like, that's the nature of being a human. So if we find that we are being lazy, or if we do find that the only way that we're able to motivate ourselves is by cracking the whip and being hard on ourselves, then we have to ask ourselves, why what's in the way that requires us to motivate ourselves that way, because that is not our nature. We're not lazy by design. Laziness is something your parents say to you as a kid to shame you into acting and behaving in accordance with ways that they think you should be behaving. That's all it is. We're not lazy. Nobody's lazy. We all have our motivations, wherever it might be. We all want to pursue ambient challenges. Growth is a natural extension of being a human being. Enjoying your life, being grateful for what you have, being present, being content with what you've got is not antithesis to growth. Anyway, I could go on for days, but that's really what it is. I'm lazy. I need to be more disciplined and all that stuff. And the more I pursued those things, the worse it got, and the more I beat myself up. And it had the opposite effect on me. It made it worse. It made it like I became more of a perfectionist. I became more concerned that I had to change every aspect of myself, that I had to be something I wasn't, that I had to do things a particular way. And all that ever did is make me even more of an enemy of myself. You don't need to punish yourself to be a performer, to be excellent, to like I always felt like an underperforming overachiever because I would give up on shit. But I wasn't giving up on shit because I wasn't getting somewhere with it. I was giving up on it because I was beating myself up and trying to like force myself to be a certain way with certain expectations about how everything had to be, that I was basically strangulating my core identity. And it never made it, like, it never helped. It never actually made life better. Unconsciously, it's not that hard for me to do the things that I want to do because I actually want to do them.
Yeah, I know. Crazy concept, right? Everyone's trying to force themselves to do things they hate. And when it's not even necessary. It's not even
Absolutely.
necessary.
Yeah.
People do this in their life with everything, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, look, it's the same with getting in shape. It's like if you don't like being on a freaking treadmill, don't get on a treadmill. Do something else. I've lost more weight. I've been in better shape because of training jiu-jitsu than I ever did when I was trying to like run on a treadmill, because I don't like running. I don't mind being on a treadmill, but it's not something that I'm enjoying, so I don't do it. On the one hand, it is a good idea to do things that challenge you and that are hard. That's a good thing. You should do that. Helping you move towards being a greater version of yourself. And I would argue because it required pushing so far to a different point, because it's quite extreme thing to do, right? I used to do all these 30-day challenges. I'd do like 30 days no orgasm, or 30 days no eating carbs, or whatever, 60 days no eating carbs. But it didn't eventuate in change after those 60 days. It's like, oh, now, okay, I've done 60 days. Now I'm going to go stuff my face with donuts. Like, what was the point then? Yeah. Why did it, like, what was I doing for 60 days if it doesn't translate to growth? Why did I do it? What was my intention?
It's supposed to make everything easier, right? Like, it's supposed to help you stick to it afterwards.
But you don't.
Well, okay, here's the thing though. Like, I'll give you this. I wanted to get all the basics right in life. So I was like focusing on sleep, better sleep, better hydration, working out, all the stuff, right? And in the beginning, it was really hard to stick to all of it. But I used a lot of really great strategies to help me stick to it. And eventually, like, a month would pass, 2 months would pass, 3 months, and I'm still doing it. And then there would be like this one moment where I fall off the wagon, right? Where I'm just like, maybe I had a hard day or something. And like, I'm bad with sugar. I've been really trying to get rid of the sugar. And I'll have a bad day and I'll go get fast food and I'm just like binge on like French fries and with salt, sugar, right? And now I'm like engulfed in this really bad falling off the wagon instance. It's gotten way out of control. but it felt so good, right? And then I would feel guilty. I would feel guilty that I fell off the wagon. I was like, damn it. But then this is the only way I could get past those moments was it's okay. I fell off the wagon. It's not a big deal. Tomorrow I can get back on it, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
over time, those instances got fewer and fewer and farther in between to where I don't even think about it now for the most part.
yeah,
Occasionally I
yeah.
have. I don't think about it.
Because habits become character. Habits become character over time. Everyone still thinks 21 days to build a habit, but it's more like somewhere between 44 and 128. But what people miss about that is you're allowed to fall off the wagon. It's not about, you don't have to do it every single day. You're allowed to fall off the wagon. If you fall off the wagon and course correct and keep going, you're going to eventually build that habit. You're eventually going to build that habit, and habit becomes character. And once it's character, you know it's character, because the difference between character and habit is what will you do it if your world falls apart, will you default to it? If you default to it when your world falls apart, that's character. That means that's a part of who you are now. Like that's where it's at. That's what we should all be aiming for. And that's why character is so important when it comes to people too, because if you really want to see who someone is, put them in the ring, like have conflict with them or whatever, because that's where you're going to find out who they are.
That's a good quote.
Yeah, well, feel free to quote me.
Is that an original or did you steal that from somebody?
I just made it up now. Yep.
Okay. Have a good night. Or I'll have a good night. You have a great day.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.